Hello Skillr Boxers. Today we're going to break down how to beat the Philly shell defense. A frustrating and seemingly unbreakable defense at times. We'll learn exactly how it works and therefore what you can do to counter it. In this video, we'll go over proven techniques that have been most effective in breaking the Philly shell defense. It's important to mention that this breakdown will focus on same stance fights, orthodox versus orthodox, and southpaw versus southpaw. While many principles translate to opposite stance matchups, the punches and mechanics will not be entirely the same. Let us know if you'd like a breakdown on fighting against the opposite stance.
Nice uppercut and the left hand!
To understand how to break the Philly shell, we first need to understand how it works. But before we start the breakdown, we wanted to share an app from our sponsor, HBOBoxing, the premier heavy bag trainer that helps you develop into a complete fighter. Choose from dozens of expertly crafted modules, train with structure, and get into fighting shape. Improve faster with HBOBoxing. Download today. Skillr Boxers can save 20% with the link below. Basic principles of the Philly shell. The Philly shell, or L-guard defense, is a bladed stance where the lead hand rests horizontally across the stomach, while the rear hand is positioned diagonally, with the elbow tucked against the body and the hand protecting the side of the face.
Miss. Oh, misses.
The chin is tucked behind the front shoulder. Compared to a high guard, which offers more defensive options, the Philly shell is more restricted.
Michael Hunter.
Let's quickly go over how it defends against each basic punch. Body shots are typically blocked with both arms. However, some punches like the jab to the body can be parried with the rear hand. Jabs to the head are often defended with a catch or parry. Crosses are deflected with the front shoulder by slightly raising it, shoulder roll.
He's standing straight up right now to fight all together, but Cotto is a guy who's he wants to show this guy what a good fight is. With all the stuff that
Lead hooks are either blocked with the rear hand or evaded by bending at the waist. Rear hooks are typically avoided with a pullback or a bend at the waist. Uppercuts are generally ineffective against the Philly shell, as they don't have a clear opening to land cleanly. While these are not the only ways to defend these punches, they are the primary ones. Now, let's look at the most useful techniques for breaking the Philly shell. Jab from the 3 position. The first technique to break the Philly shell is throwing the jab from the 3 position. As we'll see throughout the video, angles will be key to breaking this defense. In this case, we're throwing a jab, but from an angle. The 3 position refers to the lead hook position, meaning the weight is on the front leg and the body is slightly shifted to the lead side.
Against this type of, but it's kind of gonna come similar to a hook, similar to a left hook, but the shot remains straight.
From that position, instead of throwing a lead hook, you throw a jab.
Bang. You can hear the pop on that jab.
As we've previously reviewed, the jab is typically caught or parried in the Philly shell, while the lead hook is blocked. However, because this jab comes from the lead hook position, it's much harder for the opponent to recognize and defend against it. This is a great shot and can often be set up with a body punch. For example, throwing across to the body and then coming up with the jab from the 3 position.
certainly is not a one-punch knockout artist either.
Jab to the body. While the Philly shell provides strong body coverage, there is a slight opening between the arms. This opening can be attacked with a stabbing jab to the body.
Lines is Ben. When you look at the likes of the Algier, Ben comes back with his own.
The opponent's natural tendency is to parry the shot, but many fighters attempt to grab the glove instead.
With Cepeda, just picking his jabs.
His precision. I agree. I said to
Because what happens if Andre hits Kovalev?
And he'll hit him.
This can alter their stance, making them more squared up to their opponent or causing them to lower their hands more than usual. This tendency can be exploited to set up the next shot. Rear overhand. As we reviewed earlier, the cross is typically deflected by the shoulder roll. A skilled boxer using the Philly shell will have no trouble parrying a straight cross by slightly raising their front shoulder. That's why, once again, angles are the key. Instead of throwing a perfectly straight cross, an overhand right is much more effective.
The right hand that I hit Mayweather with is the right hand I studied with from Sugar Ray Leonard and his father fighting. Coming down with it, boom. When he leans like this, come down with it, boom, and hit him.
The overhand travels over the opponent's shoulder, making it impossible to parry with the front shoulder. The only alternative is to duck under the shot. That's why the overhand shouldn't be exaggerated. It should be difficult for the opponent to tell whether it's a cross or an overhand. If you start the motion like a cross, the opponent will react with a shoulder roll. If you adjust the trajectory at the last second with a looping motion, it will be too late for them to adjust, allowing you to land cleanly over the shoulder.
Point decision. Good right uppercut in the right hand, and that is stunned Soldier. He's in real trouble again.
As mentioned earlier, the jab to the body is a great setup for this. When the opponent reaches to grab the glove, you can follow up with the overhand.
Whatever you want to throw it. Oh, what a right hand over the top.
Powerful lead hook. The lead hook is another effective shot against the Philly shell. As we discussed, the lead hook is usually blocked with the rear hand or avoided by bending at the waist. When blocking with the rear hand, the Philly shell's bladed stance makes it more difficult to absorb the shot compared to a traditional high guard. Because the lead hook comes from the side, the opponent's structure isn't as solid, making it harder to fully neutralize the punch.
The guard as well of Dobson, a little wide, so the uppercut. Yeah, it's a nervous opening round. The variation, the accuracy from Ben.
Even if the shot is blocked, a powerful lead hook can still do damage. Additionally, some hooks slip through the opponent's rear hand, landing clean on the chin.
Conviction.
Counter the jab. Even though the previous techniques can be great resources, the best way to crack the Philly shell is by breaking the posture. When in the correct posture, all shots are easily blocked, parried, or evaded. That is why we will look for opportunities where the posture is broken.
Of the left eye.
This could be countering any shot from the Philly shell. However, the one that will allow us for more opportunities is the jab.
Down and up. Try to get that right hand in. One thing. Challenger Mayweather. And what set that up? Mayweather slid to his right beautifully. He just was right.
When the opponent throws the jab, his front shoulder is no longer covering the chin and they are exposed. Countering right after the jab can open clean shots to the chin.
With his opponent.
You can counter in different ways, for example, with an inside slip going over the top, or slipping to the outside and coming back with a cross. Circling to the weak side. Finally, the most fundamental positional technique to beat the Philly shell is circling to the weak side of the opponent.
Right hand and one, and he changes it. He must be something they worked on. He can't very change it to the body. He's now moving away as he comes in on the attack line. High starts in terms of output, followed by powerful finishes.
Against a traditional stance, circling to the weak side is a good way to avoid the opponent's rear hand. Against the Philly shell, it also creates openings to exploit.
So they kept Arthur up.
As mentioned earlier, linear attacks are easily blocked and parried in the Philly shell. However, by changing the angle, everything changes. Circling or quickly moving to the weak side forces the opponent to turn and face you, breaking their posture. In this position, the front shoulder is no longer in place to deflect the cross.
Speed and all that. Vargas having a laugh, but he's not smiling now.
Using side steps, pivots or back shuffles, you can quickly change the angle and create openings for clean shots.
Upstairs.
But now it's your turn. What techniques do you use to break the Philly shell? Let us know, and if the video was interesting, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.